Good day, everyone. Welcome again to our SocSci2, Understanding Culture, Society, and Politics. And for today's video, we are going to discuss about the chapter 2, which is entitled Understanding Culture and Society. And here are our objectives, and I want you class to read this one. Okay, so basically in this lesson, we are going to define culture and society. In this lesson also, you will learn how anthropology, political science, and sociology look at culture and society. And you will learn that the three disciplines have a number of perspectives of approaches in studying culture and society. Okay? So you will also be learning about the characteristics, key concepts, and views on society and culture of the three disciplines. Okay, the first part of our discussion is all about the society and culture. So we are now going to define society. Okay. All right. So here, a society class is a group of individuals sharing a common culture, geographical location, and government. So society enable individuals to acquire necessary survival skills, maximize potentials, and share resources. And of course, everything that a person learns and shares as a member of society is what we can achieve here. And society also class encompasses beliefs, practices, values, attitudes, laws, norms, artifacts, symbols, and knowledge. So, in other words, human beings are considered naturally inclined to be part of societies where they establish mutually beneficial relationship with one another. Okay, now let's proceed to our next slide. Okay, so we have here elements of society. So we actually have six elements of society. Now we have social solidarity, shared identity and culture, and then common language, and then we have this large population and ability to sustain succeeding generations of members, and then definite geographical area, and of course political, economic, and social organization. So all of these makes up a society. Okay, so let's proceed. Okay, so class, there are five major types of societies. So this is actually according to how they change and develop over the time. That's according to the social scientists. So as we can see here, we have the first one, hunting and gathering communities. Okay, this is the very first one, no? So date as back as several million years ago and considered the first societies. So the basic social economic units were a family and local clan which organized hunting and gathering activities and accumulated food supply. Okay, so again, that's their basic food production. So they hunt and they gather what they have found no in their area. Second is horticultural and pastoral societies. Okay, so this is actually a more sedentary life. Okay, because this time this is already the introduction of agriculture as more stable food production method. Okay, so basically when we say horticultural societies, they rely on cultivation of plants, as the primary source of food, while pastoral societies depended on domestication of animals. Okay, so take note of that. Number three, or the third society here, is the agriculture societies. So this was led by the emergence of civilization in was it Mesopotamia and China 10,000 years ago. No, so this is actually new, or they use new methods of farming. Okay, and this is also the time when the invention of more advanced tools and the establishment of permanent settlements. Okay, so that was a time during the agricultural societies. Okay, the fourth one is industrial societies. Yeah, so um, this was transformed during the revolution in England in 18th century. Okay, so this is already, it has technological advancement, okay, that has resulted to invention of machines. Okay, and during industrial societies, this is also the rise of urban centers or cities. Okay, next, the fifth one is the post-industrial societies. So this is already in the 20th century. So in here, knowledge is a commodity, and technological innovation is the key to long-lasting growth and development. Okay, so once again, class, these are the five major types of societies according to how they change and develop over time. Okay, all right. Now, yeah, other information of these major types of societies is according actually by according to Lenski. So we have here, no, the definition of hunting and gathering, horticultural and pastoral, agriculture, industrialism, and post-industrialism. Okay, now this time, everyone, let's talk about culture. So, what do you know about culture? Now, let's proceed to its definition. Okay, so culture class is one of the important bases that define and influence a society. Okay, remember that one. So, it only means any set of beliefs, ideas, values, practices, knowledge, what else? History and shared experiences, attitudes, as well as material objects and possessions accumulated over time and shared by the member of the society. Okay, so according to E.B. Taylor, culture is the complex whole which encompasses beliefs, practices, values, norms, laws, artifacts, symbols, knowledge, and everything a person learns and shares as a member of society. And that's actually a classic definition of culture. Okay, so class, there are two primary categories of a culture. So first is material culture, and the second one is non-material culture. Okay, so from the term itself, no, when we say material culture, it is composed of physical or tangible objects produced, shared, and utilized within the society, such as um, you know, tools or implements, paintings, and other work of art, um, architectural styles, weaponry, and even toys. Okay, so this is part of material culture. The other category is non-material culture. So this time, this is intangible properties and elements of society that influence the patterns of action and behavior of its members. So examples of the non-material culture includes language. Yeah, language, belief, values, attitudes, ideas, and norms shared among members of the society. Okay, so actually, class, no, part of the non-material culture is when it comes to literature, no, the way they narrate a certain story, they have what we call folklore. Okay, that's the collection of community stories, no, folklore. So which comes in a form of myth, legends, folk tales. So when you say folk tales, that is kwentong bayan, diba? And proverbs, riddles, and those stories embodies the history, beliefs, ideas, values, and practices that define society. So our best example for the folklore that we have is si Malakas at si Maganda. So I'm sure you have read or you have heard that story because that actually tell us the story of the origin of Filipino people, right? Okay. So anyway, what's okay? So in the next slide, you can actually see here, no, it's a difference. So and I have already mentioned, no, some differences. Of course, material culture, something that is tangible, something you can see, you can touch, like that. Non-material culture, intangible. Okay, something that you cannot really touch, or it's not really an object, right? Okay. So, though individual societies have varying histories, experiences, identities, and organization, all of them have four vital cultural components. So, let's go to the four vital cultural components of culture. So, these are symbols, language, values, and norms. Okay? So, all cultures have these components. So number one, symbols. Okay, so symbols class convey meaning or represent an idea. Okay, so they are essential in communication. So shaping the thoughts and ideas and defining a society's culture. So of course, symbols, you know, that's actually the basic or the fundamental element that makes up a language. Diba? When it comes to symbols, one of its example is the 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 alphabet, diba? And we can recognize those letters, and we can read, or we can speak, listen to, writings, um, yeah, read it with comprehension. So like that. It's really very essential. Okay, and that our second vital component is language. Okay, so language class can be verbal or non-verbal symbols. Okay, so this one enables members to communicate verbally. So when we say verbally, it's spoken, and non-verbally, it is only written or just with the use of gestures and other symbols or illustrations that is understood by the members of the society. Okay. Next is number three, values. Okay. So this is the standard principles of what is right or not. So the values will actually, these are principles that provide members of the society the standard pertaining to what is right or wrong, good or bad, desirable and undesirable. Okay, and then the next component or the last component is norms. Okay, so norms class are shared rules of conduct among members in the society. Again, ha, shared rules of conduct among members. It determines specific behavior among society's class cunning norms. Okay, and when it comes to norms, there are also categories of norms. No, um, the first one is folkways. So this is without serious consequence when violated. All right. Next, we have more. So with moral connotation, and then laws. Of course, this one is legally enacted and enforced. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next slide. Okay. So the process of culture and identity is facilitated through socialization and enculturation. So let's define what socialization and enculturation are. So let's go to socialization. Okay, so this is the lifelong process of forging identity through social interaction. So from the word social, diba? So language as well as social agents that teach uh, aspects of culture to members contributes to socialization. Okay, because with the use of language, we can easily communicate, we can easily interact. Okay, so that is socialization. The next one is enculturation. Okay, remember this one? It's the process by which an individual learns or acquire the important aspects of his or her society's culture or his or her own culture. Okay? So once you learn, you acquire, you apply your learning, that is enculturation. Is that clear? Okay. So again, these two, socialization and enculturation, will help us when it comes to processing our culture and identity. Okay, let's now proceed to the next slide, everyone. Okay, so we have here the characteristics of a culture. Okay, characteristics of a culture. So it is said that a culture is dynamic, shared, unique, and of course, a culture is adapted. Okay, so class, there is context in a culture. Okay, and when we say context, that is particular circumstances of a certain culture, and that is defined by location, weather, time period, and other factors. Right? So, class, it is important to be aware of the context of our culture. Okay, that some of its aspects are shared, some are contested, some are indigenous, and others are influenced by other societies. Okay? All right. So, this time, everyone, since we already know or define what society is and when it comes to culture, what makes up a culture, elements, and so on. So let's proceed now to society and culture according to the three disciplines. So, what are the three disciplines, everyone? Again, we have anthropology, sociology, and political science. Okay, so let's go first to anthropology. Okay, so remember when you say anthro means man. Okay, so in anthropology, this one considers culture as central focus of its discipline. Okay, it studies different culture of different societies. So, anthropology, and in anthropology, it has five approaches. So we have relativistic approach, ethnocentric approach, ethnocentrism, xenocentrism, and then we have cultural relativism. Okay, So let's go first to relativistic approach. No, relativistic approach. So it comes from the word relative, no, and then relate. So this one means or focuses on the idea that all cultures are equal. Again, all cultures are equal. So this view holds that there is no superior and inferior cultures, and each culture is unique in its own way. Okay, that is relativistic approach. Next class is ethnocentric approach. Okay, ethnocentric. So in this approach, um, it is a belief that one's native culture is superior to other culture. Okay, so in this approach, um, a certain culture tends to have a negative view of other countries or other people and of course other culture. Yes, because they only thought that their culture is superior, the only true culture like that. So they disregard the idea that there are other cultures, or probably, their culture is superior. So, manang ethnocentric. No, they really centered their culture. Okay. The third approach is what we call ethnocentrism. Okay, ethnocentrism class diminishes or invalidates other ways of life and creates a distorted view of one's own. Okay, so this one actually could affect individual behavior and relationship with other cultures. Okay, and extreme form of ethnocentrism has led to wars and colonization. Okay, especially in the past, everyone. No, so ethnocentrism. Okay, the fourth one is xenocentrism. Okay, xenocentrism actually is the opposite of ethnocentrism. The class ethnocentrism, you feel or you have an idea that your culture, your own culture, is superior. When it comes to xenocentrism, you're considering your culture as an inferior to others. And you know what? Sometimes we Filipinos have this kind of approach. No? Because we were colonized Mongol before, in the past. So we're thinking that other culture or other countries have better culture than we have, something like that. No, yeah, but I think it's not really true nowadays. But I can observe that there are times, no, kita mo Pinoy na ada. Okay, so again, xenocentrism is considering your culture as an inferior to others. Okay, and the last approach is what we call cultural relativism. Okay, so this one recognizes and accepts the cultural differences between societies. Okay, so no particular culture can claim superiority over other culture. Okay, in this approach, this is actually the most ideal approach class. However, it calls for a keen assessment of other cultures to gain a holistic understanding of their uniqueness. So you have to really research more, understand better about other culture. Yeah. So this is the most ideal because everybody is aware and respectful of cultural diversity. Yeah, so this is what happened, nowadays. Cultural relativism. Okay, so again, so that's for the anthropology. Now let's go to sociology. Okay, in sociology, this one relates culture with the overall context of social order. Okay, social order is sociology. So, There are sociological perspective that explains this order, and we have three class. No, the first one is structural functionalism. Okay, so in this one, society is stable and orderly system in an orderly system. Okay, structured. No, that's why it's called structural functionalism. So the functionalists consider culture as a glue that binds together, leading to social order. Okay. Second is the conflict theory. So in this um, perspective, there is a constant power struggle among the various groups within the society. Okay, so conflict theorists believe that effective domination brings about social order. So naapoy superiority aning kapita. Okay, and the third one is symbolic interactionism. So individuals and group behavior and social interactions as defining features of society. So symbolic interactionists believe that um, culture provides shared meanings to the members of society. So the more meanings shared, the more society ensures social order. Okay, and that is symbolic interactionism. So, class, I have a question now. How are these perspectives applied in looking at Philippine society? Okay, so we're going to use these perspectives, no? So, using a structural functional approach, we can examine the significance of religion in binding Filipino Roman Catholics, Filipino Muslims, and other Filipinos who belong to other faiths, and how they can relate to each other using the same sacred text, doctrines, beliefs, practices, and other related symbols. Mhm. So, religion in this view becomes the glue that unites Filipinos together. However, using the conflict approach, Roman Catholicism could be seen as cultural tool that is partly responsible for the exclusion of other local cultures. Okay, so through the lens of the symbolic interactionist model, religion could be viewed as the major factor that affects the general patterns of behavior and life situations of the members of society. So um, it could also be suggested that symbols outside the realm of religion can be used to promote interaction and unite Filipinos of different religions and other cultural orientations. So it could be argued that social order is possible in the Philippines when Filipinos of different cultures share the same symbols and meanings. So that's how we apply these perspectives in Philippine society. And that's an example. Okay? And let's go to the last one, everyone. Okay, and we are now in the political science. Okay, so as we all know, um, in political science, no, it is all about analyzing political behavior, such as voting patterns and behavior of our leaders. So there are two important terms that we need to remember in political science. The first one is multiculturalism. So this one acknowledges and promotes cultural diversity within society. Okay, so it entails the establishment of political groups and institutions. So the other term is cultural sensitivity. Okay, so this one advances awareness and acceptance of cultural differences. But of course, this one encourages critical stance in dealing with issues regarding diversity. Okay, so this view believes that not all cultural practices, traditions, and views can be integrated, and that distinct cultures can harmoniously coexist in the society. So that's cultural sensitivity. Okay, okay, and that ends now. So overall, class as a summary, anthropology, sociology, and political science are the three essential academic disciplines that take a closer look at society and culture. Okay? Excuse me. And of course, understanding how individuals behave, interact, and develop within societies can enlighten us on factors, forces, and processes that encourages and hinder the progress of societies and culture in today's world. Okay, and that's all for today's video, everyone. So I hope you have learned a lot from our discussion today about society and culture, and of course the three disciplines that will help us understand better of the culture: the anthropology, sociology, and political science. So see you again for our next discussion, everyone. So have a great day ahead.